My husband died suddenly last year, Chastity. I found out our entire 15-year marriage was a lie. When David died of a heart attack at 43, I thought the worst pain was burying my husband of 15 years. I was wrong. The worst pain was discovering 11 months later that the man I'd built my life with never actually existed. It started with a birthday card that arrived yesterday. Not for me, but for Michael, addressed to our home. Implied was a handwritten note. Another year without you. The kids miss their daddy. I still hope someday you'll come back to us. Love always, Teresa. My husband's name was David Mitchell, not Michael. We had no children. Pair infertility had been our greatest struggle, and I'd certainly never heard of any Teresa. I sat on our kitchen floor for hours, staring at that card before I finally did what I'd avoided for months. I opened the locked drawer in his office desk. The one he'd always said contained boring work documents I wouldn't be interested in. Inside was a passport for Michael Thomas Reynolds Pert with my husband's face, but a different name. Bachelor certificates for 2 children, Pertema, 12, and James, 9. Wedding photos of David Pern, Michael Pern with a pretty blonde woman on a beach. The date on the marriage license, 3 years before he married me. My hands trembled as I found bank statements for accounts I never knew existed, urged transfers to an address in Portland, Perrin, where business trips took him every other month, a folder of school photos showing 2 children with his eyes, his smile, 15 years of marriage, and I'd never once suspected. I was the other woman. I called his best friend Ryan, the only person who'd known David before we met. When I told him what I'd found, there was a long silence before he whispered, "I am so sorry, Kate. I wanted to tell you so many times, you knew." My voice didn't sound like my own. "He was my cousin before he was my friend," Ryan said quietly. "He got in too deep lateral with a business trip fling, then couldn't figure out how to end it. Then you got pregnant, the pregnancy I lost at 4 months, the grief that nearly destroyed us both. Or so I thought. He loved you," Ryan insisted. "That part wasn't a lie, but everything else was. My marriage, my life. Even his death." Pern, did Teresa know? Did those children understand? Their father was gone last night. I drove to Portland with a birthday card and a box of photos. I sat outside the address from the bank statements for 3 hours watching a modest home with bikes in the yard and wind chimes on the porch. So I saw her, Pern, Teresa, parent watering plants on the front steps. The children played in the sprinkler, their laughter carrying across the evening air. I should have been filled with rage. Instead, I felt a strange kinship with this woman who had also been betrayed, who had also lost. We were both widows of a man who never truly existed. I left the card and photos in their mailbox with a note. "I think we should talk. I was married to Michael too this morning." She called the number I'd included. We spoke for 2 hours, parent, her voice moving from shock to anger to a grief that mirrored my own. Her children believe their father has been working overseas for years. She's been waiting for him to come home from a life he invented. Tomorrow, I'm meeting Teresa for coffee. 2 widows of the same man trying to understand how someone could compartmentalize his life so completely messed to reconcile the man we both loved with the lies he told. I don't know what comes next. I don't know if the life I thought I had was completely meaningless, but I do know that somewhere between her truth and mine lies the real story of the man we both called husband. Sometimes the person you lose isn't the person you thought you had, and sometimes healing starts by finding the others who are trying to put together the same broken puzzle.